Hello, it's Nigby. This was going to be just a quick simple video of me picking these locks that I've been loaned to by AJ Locks and Locks, but it's turned into something else now. The locks themselves turned out to be really interesting for me because it's forced me to make a new tool and one thing and another, but it's also an ideal opportunity to talk about some of the stuff that's out there for sale in terms of lever locks. Lever locks being an old technology, it seems to lend themselves to the con men out there, trying to separate people from the cash. So I've had a quick flick through eBay before I started this video, and I've got some pictures up. Now the first one is an 1870s Chubb lever lock. Now I personally, this was brought to my attention by a gentleman called Round Rivet, who's an absolute expert on Chubbs and whatever, and lever locks in general, so credit to Round Rivet. But that's on eBay. I think it's up for 150 something pounds, which is a lot of money for a padlock. But the thing to note is that if you have a look at this next picture, that's the key that is being sold with the lock. Now the thing is that lock is a 6 lever lever lock. That key is a single lever wardrobe key. Nowhere in the description does the guy tell you that the key works the lock, but I think it's a bit disingenuous to think that a key pictured with a lock shouldn't be the one that works it. I have messaged this guy and asked him if the key works the lock, and he's very cagey and says it spins in the lock and whatever. But there you go. There's just one example of things to watch out for. Next ones are well, just the junk that has been made in India and being traded off as old locks or historically interesting locks. I've got a picture here. That's just 5 random locks. And the next picture that comes up, just zoomed in on the bitting for one of those locks in there. If you look at that, there's absolutely no way that that's a proper lever lock. At best, there's a single lever in that, and maybe not even a lever in it at all. There's probably nothing stopping that opening at all. Then we've got something called a Hops and Co lock. Again, just another made to look old. Then we've got a Trust. Again, just something there to separate you from your cash. Next one's a great one. It's a Vulcan 10 lever. That must be a pretty secure lock with 10 levers in there. Then along, trying to probably cash in on the American market. All of this stuff comes from India, by the way. We've got one that was for Alcatraz Death Row. It's the genuine lock used on death row. Who wouldn't want that? So anyway, yeah, there's just some of the examples of some of the absolute junk out there, and I have to say that those locks were anywhere between sort of 30, 40 up to about £200 for some of them. Now a lot of them are made in this place. This is Aligarh. Aligarh is it's like well, it's famous. It's the lock capital of India. Now these ones that it's the equivalent of the Willenhall in India, I think. These ones that I've got have both got this Aligarh name on there, and these seem to be quite good examples of lever locks that come out of there. I don't think that they're trying to be anything other than they are, other than cheaply manufactured locks. I mean, give you a look over that. The characteristics are all there though. High number of levers, random numbers just stamped on. This one is it's supposed to be a Sehgal KC Metalworks. That could be the genuine place that makes it. It's a laughably huge lock. It's absolutely massive. That's the one that's caused me the most interest in terms of tool making. This one again, this seems actually quite well made. It's unusual in terms of this keyway front. That looks like it may have come off something else. Get some focus on there, and it's just been sort of soldered, brazed onto the body. The only really sort of telltale bad thing about this is the hand painted lettering. I can't tell. Yeah, it is actually just scratched in, so it's etched in. So again, just random numbers on there, but the Aligarth name. I'll just show you these working. So actually, let's see if we can get this picked. So we'll just lock that up. So I've made a tool especially for this, because with that frontage on, it really is quite a deep lock. And there is actually 6 leaves in this. As it says, I can feel all 6 leaves. If you have a look at the key for it, it's got a reasonable bit in, as I say, if you think back to that one in the picture that was just almost flat straight across. So let's see if we can get this picked. Let's have a feel around. Okay, so there we go. That's that picked. Hinge is terrible on the shackle. It's stiff as anything, but that's that one picked. And then this one turned out to be really interesting. This is the Sehgal, supposedly 8 levers. I'm not entirely sure. I've had a good feel around. One thing to note is that despite the thickness of that, if I just go in there like that and slide back, the first lever is back here. So all the way back to the first lever. So the first lever isn't halfway through the lock. Now this presented me with some problems. I made this tool, because of the depth of it, I hadn't got anything that was going to be anywhere near. So I made this tool. Now this is unfinished because I test all of my tools before any sort of finishing and polishing. And this started to bend. Let's see if I can get it. You can see the angle on there. This thing, it requires an absolute massive amount of tension. There's the bitting on it. That's the other thing to note about this. If you look at the front of this lock there's a cutout which would normally indicate that there should be some warding in the back of the lock, so that if without that it would be stopped from turning and engaging with levers. I haven't been able to find anything in there, but the amount of tension that it requires to pick it did have me start wondering with this. So as I say, I did manage to pick it with this tool. But because it was bending, I used that's my normal 2mm upstand on that. The only thing unusual about it was the depth. Started bending, so I didn't bother finishing it. But what I did end up making was this, and I'll just give you where are we? Just as a size example, that's my normal 440 tension tool that I make. We're a bit out of focus, aren't we? There we go. That's better. So just as a size, and then the size of the upstand. Can we get that into focus? No, it's not going to play, is it? It just likes the shiny lock in the background. So I've had to make this. So I've made it from a 5mm rod. The first thing is that the 5mm rod went through the keyhole at the front. But the hole at the back it was too big for, so it wouldn't go in. So I had to reduce the diameter of the rod at this end, and then I borrowed this from Isamu Sushi. Actually, he uses a dowel rod, a metal dowel rod. I've never heard of them before, but I've managed to get hold of some metal dowel rods, and they are absolutely rock solid, and just the thickness of them. So yeah, me rattling on. So let's see if we can get this one picked as well. So it goes in and nicely engages in the hole in the back. And what I actually have to do, I'll try and keep it in focus, but I'm going to actually brace the end against the table, and then actually leave the lock backwards, because it does require a massive amount of tension still. Okay, and there we go, and that's that one open as well. So, but the tool's absolutely fine for the amount of tension that it requires. So yeah, all that remains is to thank AJ for the loan of the locks. They're going to be returned to him. I'm going to send them back with the 2 tools, especially for them. It was really interesting for me to have a look at these. I've always been sort of looked at these old Indian old, even I'm getting dragged into it, looked at these Indian type locks and wondered about them, but there's no way I'm going to be spending, well, 30-40 pounds on something like this. So it was absolutely brilliant to have these as a loan. I think AJ actually got these from a friend in, I think he might have said Switzerland or something, so they've had a bit of a journey, these things. So yeah, AJ, thanks so much, and everybody else, just be careful what you're spending your hard-earned money on, because there's a lot of people out there trying to con you, especially in terms of these old lever locks. Anyway, that's me, Nick B out. Thanks a lot.